It's time to talk about jewellery, and today we're starting a new series of monthly videos which are a bit like a show and tell video or jewellery haul video, and this will be the items that have sold from the shop and those that have recently been listed. It's a great way to see lots of items of jewellery, maybe help you spot familiar pieces that you might have in your collection to help identify them or find out more about them, but also if I'm stuck on any, please do share any identification tips in the comments below as we go through the items. These really special pieces we will come back to a little bit later in the video. It's also a great video for resellers if you are trying to see what is currently selling and what the market is like, but also things to be on the lookout for whether you are a reseller or a collector. Now this will be a fairly quick fire video as there's lots to show you, and as I said, share any tips or if you've got any questions put them in the comments below. So let's go to the first item. So the first item is this amazing and huge Native American Zuni brooch or pendant with a petit point design with all of those tiny turquoise stones set in silver with that distinctive sawtooth bezel. It was unsigned, so unable to attribute it to an artist, but it was still marked sterling, and the buyer left a glowing review, so as pleased with the item as I was with finding it. And another Native American piece, this time a pair of wonderful feather dangle earrings. So we've got the feather design, we've got leaves on there, we've got the signature use of turquoise and coral, again both in those sawtooth bezel settings, and it was marked on the back, so it did have initials on the back, SN, as well as sterling, although I couldn't find the exact artist, so I didn't put an artist name against it, just said that it was signed with initials. And this was bought by someone who had previously bought some other Native American jewellery, and again very happy review once they received the item. And another Native American item, this time a silver cuff bracelet, and this is by a very famous Navajo artist called Darren Bill. They are usually clearly signed with the name and pictograms, and if you ever find them, they are very collectible and valuable, so if you can get them for the right price, get them in your collection or business. So this one sold on eBay. So keeping with silver, this is a silver ingot. Unlike the usual rectangular ones that you get, this one is oval, and it has that traditional ingot style with all of the hallmarks down the front of it, which help you to identify the maker, the date, and where it was made, or at least where it was assayed. So this one I was tempted to keep actually because it had mine and my mum's initials on it, but this one has gone to its new home. And this next one is a lower value item but very showy. This is an unsigned Aurora Borealis starburst brooch with all of those wonderful sparkly AB stones, very typical of late 50s to 60s style jewellery. So it looks like people were after something sparkly for the festive season, and we've got another AB brooch, this time one with more design details. So we've got those wonderful navette stones around the outside giving the points of the pinwheel, and then we've got the main stone in the centre lifted up in a cupcake setting. So this one was unsigned, so again a lower value item but still a wonderful one to add to a vintage jewellery collection. And now back to silver, so we've got this lovely simple Celtic hinge bangle, and this one is solid silver, it's hallmarked, but some of the hallmarks were unclear, so unable to make out the maker's mark and the date mark, but could clearly see that it was assayed in Ireland. So that's a great thing about hallmarks, it can always help you date, and if you can see all of the hallmarks, who potentially made it and where it was made. And another silver bracelet, this time an unusual design, which was half bar, half chain, and then on that chain there were 5 small heart charms. This one was getting a lot of interest, lots of favourites, but not quite selling, and then it finally did sell, thankfully, in the run up to Christmas, so probably a present for someone. Now I love all types of Celtic and Scottish jewellery, especially the older pieces that are real gemstones in sterling silver, and this is only a small piece but lots of attention to detail. So it's got the natural gemstones around the outside set in silver with a very tiny thistle with that orange stone on top, and I was lucky enough to get 2 of these when I found these, so I've still got one with a purple stone on the thistle in the shop. Now another Celtic style brooch, also in silver. This one was just marked 925, a bit of a simpler design as a dagger with a triquetra symbol on the hilt. In keeping with silver, this time a much older piece, so an antique budded cross pendant. This one has a wonderful embossed design on the front of the cross and it's marked silver on the back. Now I love this one is really quirky. It is a kettle bird brooch. It's also silver, so this time it's 900 silver, and it is marked on the back, also with the marking Guat. So it was made in Guatemala, and the kettle bird is actually the national bird of Guatemala, so you can find lots of similar designed pieces from similar origins. And I do also have, at the same time as getting this, I managed to get hold of a pendant, which is also in the shop as well, with that wonderful quirky design detail of the bird. So changing it up a little bit, we've got this colourful necklace of natural gemstones, including quartz, carnelian and aventurine. It's got stones in all different shapes and sizes, and it's finished with a brass barrel clasp. This next one was a stunning piece with a huge, very clear citrine stone set in sterling silver. Another Scottish themed or Celtic themed piece. This one was by Adrian Lovekin and the hallmarks dated it to 1910. So this particular piece was 115 years old. Now some more silver, this time a wonderful floral hinge bangle. I thought this was older than it was as it's got that kind of Victorian style to it, but it turned out this was from 1962, so still a wonderful vintage item, and it comes in the original box that it came in. Now this was a bit of a spontaneous buy as it came up at auction. I wasn't intending on buying it, but it wasn't really going for a high price, so I just put my hand up and managed to win it for a good price. And this turned out to be a Harrods of London silver bangle, so adding to the value, so it was more of a special find than I thought it was. And the buyer, again, glowing review, very happy with it, shared photos of them wearing it. Now this next one has a wonderful colour. This is a chrome dioxide and silver pendant. So all of those stones are chrome dioxide stones in that diamond shape set in silver. This is maybe a more modern piece, early to mid 2000s potentially, and this was purchased as a gift for the buyer's wife, so the review said they were very happy with it. And keeping with silver, this time another unusually shaped ingot, so unlike the rectangular ones, this one is a cylindrical one. Now this one also had the initials of me and my mum, so another one I was tempted to keep, but this one was very popular. It kept getting favourites and views until it finally sold. Now this next one is one to keep an eye out for, as this and the wider collection are highly collectible and potentially valuable depending on the design and the condition in which you find them. So this is a yellow enamel birthday brooch by Exquisite, and it's part of a wider birthday brooch collection where they made 12 brooches, one for each month of the year. Now they also made them in different sizes, so they made smaller form ones and larger form ones. This particular one is a larger form, and the larger form tend to be rarer and more valuable, although the smaller ones are just as collectible, and again, depending on the condition that you get it in, could be highly sellable or highly collectible if you're trying to add them to your collection anyway. So definitely keep an eye out for these if you can get them for the right price. On that note, they also did a tree set as well, so a different tree or leaves for every month of the year as well, so keep an eye out for those too. So all of those items were sold through December and the very start of January, so most of those would have been presents or possibly people spending their Christmas money and buying presents for themselves. Now I've added a lot more to the shop, and some of those items are very special pieces. Very pleased to have found them as I've been out and about sourcing. So we'll start with the one that I had at the start of the video with the matching pendant. So these are both Kenneth J. Lane pieces, and you can see they are wonderful, quite unusual, very statement designs, white coral design, enamel. This is a very chunky statement hinge bangle, so it's got the hinge with the white enamel on the outside to look like branch coral, and a wonderful, very vibrant, warm gold tone in the centre. This one is the matching pendant with the stones and on a chunky gold chain, both of them signed KJL, and these ones are circa late 70s, 80s, I believe. These are in fantastic condition. I don't think they've ever been worn, and these also come in different colours, so if you look out for these you can find them in black and I believe red enamel as well, or a corally colour, so keep an eye out for those, as these are very valuable if you can get them for the right price as well, whether it's to add to your collection or to a reseller business. And then two more ingots, but this time in the traditional rectangular shape. These ones are a little bit smaller but very chunky, and again all the hallmarks down the front of them. This one I particularly liked, as this one I think is in its original box. This brown felt is giving 70s vibes, and this particular ingot is dated 1978. The other one didn't come with a box, that is also 1978, but I've just put that in a modern box just so that it's got a presentation box, but both pieces from the late 70s. And now we've got a pair of Givenchy earrings. These are not something I would usually buy, as I don't usually go for the main designers, only really costume jewellery brands. But I had these previously. I'd bought them at auction at a very good price, sold them for a very good profit, and then when I saw these again at an antique and collector's fair for a decent price, I thought I might as well get them again, as I know they were popular and they've sold before. So a really good find, and these really are stunning. They are clip-on earrings, gold tone, I believe they're gold plated. They've got that very distinctive Givenchy design on the front and the markings on the back as well, and just that really, really wonderful luxury feel that you would get from 80s gold jewellery, and I just think these are fantastic. So these have been added to the shop as well, and again proof popular, but will remain in stock until the right person finds them, whether it's someone collecting vintage designer jewellery or someone that still wears clip-on jewellery and actually wears the vintage jewellery that they buy. Now these next two brooches are lower value, so I've put them together to make that listing worthwhile, but they are of a similar style, very good quality make, and they've got those wonderful blue and clear stones in them. So they would suit someone if they bought them together. They could then interchange those with whatever they happen to be wearing. And then we've got a wonderful amber and silver brooch with that nice chunk of amber in there. This one very much in the Art Nouveau style with that natural inspiration and curved lines, but looking at other elements on it, it does look like it's only inspired and not actually Art Nouveau in age, because it's got a newer style pin and the condition is very good. It does have hallmarks, but they are unclear, so they would have been a key piece of information to actually date the piece, but as they are unclear and given the other elements, I've only listed it as inspired by Art Nouveau or in the style of Art Nouveau. And then we've got this wonderful vibrant crackle glass pendant in that really deep green or teal colour in a silver frame. This is more of a modern piece, but it did remind me of the Ruskin pieces that you can get. So Ruskin glazed pottery, which are much older, to the early 20th century. You get those set in various different things like silver pewter, platinum d'or, which is a platinum alloy as well, of various different names depending on who's made it, and they are incredibly popular and collectible as well. So if you ever find those, keep an eye out for those, as they could be good for the collection or for your reseller business. But this particular piece, a modern piece but still a very nice statement necklace for someone who likes vibrant jewellery. Then we've got a traditional check brooch with that signature filigree style, this time in the shape of a flower, and it's got those wonderful, very vibrant check glass stones in there as well. I think one of them was a uranium glass stone as well, as it glowed under the UV light. And then we've got a few miracle brooches. All of these are signed, and if you find miracle brooches, they are very collectible. Maybe you collect them yourself if you collect Scottish and Celtic style jewellery. So these ones of course aren't as old as those traditional ones that I spoke of earlier with the real gemstones and the silver. These ones are usually pewter or some sort of base metal and imitation stones made of glass or clay, for example, but very good imitation stones. So this first one reminded me, if anyone remembers those chocolate lime sweets where you have the lime on the outside and chocolate on the inside with that very vibrant green and brown stones. Then we've got this very nice, almost a wreath of thistles or a shield of thistles with those faceted stones, but this time on gold tone metal, which is quite unusual. Often you see that pewter or antique silver tone rather than gold tone for miracle. Then an amazing, very vibrant art glass brooch with that glass centre that looks a bit like carnelian, with the other stones made to look like imitation stones like lapis and malachite, for example, but they are all glass, but still a wonderful, very vibrant piece. And then we've got one in a more unusual shape, which seems to be a sceptre or a banner flag. For example, this one has wonderful design details on the staff and then that nice deep red stone at the top. Now I did still have a couple of other brooches. While I couldn't see a maker's mark on them, they were still in that similar style of Celtic jewellery, very similar to the miracle style, but because they weren't signed, I put them together in a single listing, again to make use of that, make the most of that listing, should I say. And these ones were of similar style as well. If you look at them, similar colours, similar type stones, so I thought they would go well together. Again, if someone wanted to get two brooches and then interchange them, if they like that type of style, they should like both of those brooches. And then lastly, there was another Celtic brooch, but this time signed CJ, and this one has some wonderful Celtic symbology on it with the dagger or the sword with the hilt made of the two knotted snakes holding that nice faceted stone at the top, all in silver tone metal, not actual silver, and then as I said, it was signed CJ on the back. So what did you think of those items? Can you help identify that CJ brooch? Do you know who that CJ mark is for? There is a brand called Carrick Jewellery, I think Carrick Jewellery or Carlisle Jewellery, but it isn't that particular brand. They've got a slightly different name or mark. So if you know what that CJ stands for, you do find it on quite a bit of Celtic style jewellery. Let me know in the comments below. Have you also seen this Kenneth J Lane set before, or any of the pieces even in different colours? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you've got them in your collection already. If you do like videos on vintage and antique costume jewellery, then subscribe and you'll be notified when new videos are out. We've got a video on tariffs coming up and a video for part 2 of the Trifari video, which will be coming out shortly as well. If you do have any questions, then put them in the comments below and I'll respond to everyone. And as always, thank you for watching Fine Vintage Jewellery.